Hello, welcome tonight. We are live for the first time in a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been probably about a month, and so we are spending some time now just tonight talking about family values and what are your family values.
Yep.
So we as we wait here to quote unquote build an audience, we are just
Thankful.
tapping me. We're thankful for each of you, especially for your prayers through the journey that we've been on. As a lot of you know, my dad was in the hospital the last number of weeks, and ultimately on November 5, he went to be with the Lord. And so we have had quite a journey over the past couple of weeks, and are navigating that journey right now. And so even tonight, as we talk about family values, we ourselves have walked this journey and are now in a spot where we're looking at our own family values and going, okay, what really matters? What's really, really important to us and our family, and how we lead, so that we know that we talk a lot about living, loving, and leading well. And no other time have we really felt what it looks like when you lose someone so closely. And so that's the journey we've been on. I don't know.
Well, and I think it's a great stage of life. It's a super hard stage of life, but it's a great stage of life to evaluate a lot of things. And I think that's what it really, so many of us who have walked through grief and loss, and some of us many times over. And it always brings to the forefront of your mind, I think, what is most important? Are you living for more than a funeral? Which we've talked about a lot, about Dad. And what are you leaving behind? What is the point of all this? And just those, big questions, some of those existential questions, I guess. But also how that affects how you raise your kids, how you act in your marriage, your family. These are the relationships, these are the legacies and that you leave behind. And are the most valuable.
And Ecclesiastes says, it's better to be in a house of mourning than in a house of celebration, in part because you in a house of mourning you start to contemplate, you start to.
I think we've experienced that. There's a sweetness too.
Yeah, there's a sweetness to it, and that's
that you miss on the other day.
And so tonight, as we talk about family values and we start talking about now this journey that we've been on and how are we connecting it and the lessons that we're learning, one of our family values that we value a lot is being emotionally safe. Mm-hmm. And part of being emotionally safe is taking the time to grieve, taking the time to take care of each other, to unite yourself as a family. Yeah. And that's one thing that we've really been trying to do. And that's why you haven't seen us on Facebook Live as much lately, is because we have, or even really interacting as much, just because we have had to kind of go inward to our family to take care of ourselves. Because the reality is, if you're not taking care of yourself, it's hard to take care of other people. And that's a value that we really have learned through this. And so,
for sure.
I think another value that we've learned through this, we were talking about this on the way home last weekend, is just the idea of being when we lost Dad, the number of people that supported us and either showed up out of surprise to the funeral to support us, sent flowers and cards and thank yous, and that support has been so overwhelmingly awesome. Yeah. And I think the thing that I'm learning, and it's one thing to know this in your head, but it's a complete other thing to experience it.
That's so sweet.
And that is to experience what it is to feel loved.
Yeah.
And to allow ourselves to feel loved and to allow ourselves to receive that.
Yeah.
Because I think especially as parents in today's culture, in today's day and age, it's hard to receive love. We just are doing. And
I think we live in our silos, right? We just live in our four walls and we do our life and we do our routine, and it's not like we're walking across the street to sit on our neighbor's porch. We're not we're not walking alongside one another as we walk our kids to school or something. I mean, it's just a different culture. And so it takes times like this. It takes times where there's loss, or you have a baby, or there's, those big momentous things where people rally and the community comes around and you feel people around you. But I think we've realized many times that we've been, and you never want to be the one in need. I mean, you'd rather probably be the one who's giving, but being the ones in need, number of times now, how much that means, and how much quicker you are to jump when it's someone else who's hurting. And I think the humility that puts in you,
And we talk a lot about it. So if you're new to watching our video or seeing us, I'm Josh. This is my wife, Christy, and we talk a lot. So you can like the page, and we talk a lot about families, empowering and equipping families to live, love, and lead well. And that's what we seek to do, and invite you along on that journey with us, so that we can raise kids who live, love, and lead well. And so. So tonight, as we talk about family values, one of the things that we did, and there's a link there, is we put together a list of 100 different family values that you can look at, because we want to know, what are your family values? We're going to talk just briefly about some of our family values, but because one of the biggest questions...
Well, we actually just sat down and just wanted to realize we wanted to raise our family on purpose. We wanted to be a family that lived on purpose. Yeah. And it required us sitting down to actually figure out, what are our values?
What are our values?
Like, what do we actually want to raise our kids to be? What do we want our life to be about?
And one of the things that we get a lot of questions on, particularly as it relates to disciplining kids, is how do we connect our discipline and the behavior of what our kids are going through with a biblical value, with a value that we can attach to them, and how can we navigate that? And so that's one of the things that we did there, was put that list of 100 commonly held values for families, so that you can download that and look and see, what are key values that you cherish? What are key values that you really want to hold on to? And if you would comment for us, what are some of the values that you hold on to as a family? Let's just go through a few of ours.
Because I think once you see the list, like, at least for me, you read down the list, and some of them are kind of like, yeah, it's good, sure, but they're the ones that, like, make you come alive. Feel like, you like get excited, like, yeah, that's what I want our family to be about.
Yeah, and just a connection here, point to my dad. One of my dad's values was one of his love languages was giving gifts. He loved giving tons of gifts at Christmas. I just wrote a blog about this that'll go out next week, but it's all about just the giving at Christmas time. And appropriate gift giving. I don't even know why I'm talking about this right now, because we'll read the blog next week. But just the whole idea that if that's a gift, if that's a value of yours, I'm not going to make fun of that value, because one of our values is adventure.
Yeah.
And one of the things, so
respect him.
Ecclesiastes 9 says to enjoy life, life with the one that you love, and to enjoy. One of the ways that we enjoy life is having adventure.
But now you have to realize, when you value something, that means you're prioritizing it above something else. So something else has to give, which helps you, right? Simplify your life. You can't be great at all things, but you pick your 5 or whatever it is for you. We've picked 5 that we want to focus on. Adventure being one, which means we have less stuff. It means we buy less clothes. Because that's important to us, and that might not be for other people, but that's one of ours.
So, and that's a great point, because you're when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else.
Yeah.
Another one of ours is empathy. We are big time Philippians 2:3 people. Think others better than yourself. And so when our kids are fighting or bickering or arguing or having issues, or even when we're having issues, to try to think as her being more important than me, to think of her being better than me, that her underlying motivation or her intentions behind what she said were probably pure, even though the way that it came across wasn't. And so for the ability for us to be able to...
pure. That's like
maybe
like good, maybe like decent. I don't think I'm like pure.
So we, so
thanks, Karen.
those values are so critically important. Hard work. Our son has Proverbs 6:6 memorized. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider his ways and be wise. We value hard work in our family as well.
Yeah.
So being able to connect these. So what are some values that you have? And then think about some of the values that are not good values that we teach our kids or that we have in our homes. Like boys don't cry, for instance, right? That's a bad value. I'm just going to say that's a bad value. Real men cry.
Yeah.
And so
You're good at
I'm
it.
an emotional safety guy. Of course, I'm going to say that real men cry.
Yeah.
So a
But I
couple
think it's like other things. I mean, they watch us lose our temper.
yeah.
And it's as if these outbursts are okay or they're permissible.
And see,
because,
that's the key. That the key here is living the value yourself. Okay,
Right.
so if you're not living the value, it's hard to teach the value, because our
Yeah.
kids don't do as we say; they do as we do. And so it's a matter of who we're becoming as parents. Who Brene Brown says it best: "Are
Yeah.
you the adult that you want your child to grow up to be?" That's a heavy statement.
compassion. I'm teaching my boys to care for others.
Awesome, Heather. Yes.
Yes.
To teach your kids to care for others. So
And
compassion,
I think it's
strong
so
value.
interesting too, because I think the values that we pick, they're also the values that we want to see come out in ourselves, right? Because it's who we are,
Yeah.
and it's almost like we love lists. We're like type A's, but like goals to go after, and if compassion is one, like that's a value that it's not just a family value. Like this is a value that me as a person I'm aspiring to have in my life. Like I want these words said over me at my funeral or said about me. Right?
That's great. Yeah. Yeah. And I wrote a tribute to my dad this week, and it was part of the coming from some of the eulogy that I spoke at his funeral. And so thinking about what are the values that you want spoken at your funeral. And so tonight, download that list, because that list is there for you of 100 values. And what I would do is you download that list, start talking to your spouse, and put together 3 to 5 of those values that you most hold dear, and rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are your top 5? Like our number 1 is loving God. It's Deuteronomy 6:5. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul. That we filter everything we do through loving God with our whole heart, mind, and soul. So number 1, what is your number 1 value? What is the number 2 value? And then what you can do is you can begin to then set discipline and teach through discipline. You can strengthen your marriage that way just by being able to talk about the values and filtering all your decisions, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a job opportunity, whether it's a move, whether it's a schooling decision. You can filter those decisions through those values then for your family and allow those values to guide your family.
Which has helped us so
Oh,
many
it's helped
times.
us incredibly.
It has helped us make 2 major moves. Probably 3 or 4 major job decisions.
Yeah.
Not to mention just the daily stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great because it simplifies life.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't focus on all of the things. But when you boil it down to who you are, who God made you and your spouse and your family to be, or even if it's just you as an individual, like who are you? It's such a clarifying thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a very clarifying
So
thing.
download the list, because I think you'll like looking it through and just seeing like what makes you come alive, like
Yeah.
what
And
parts just
and print
ring
off the
out
list
to
and
you.
start crossing off.
Yeah.
Different values that probably don't resonate with you as much.
Yeah.
Or with your family. And one way to do this too is look at the values you're already teaching your kids. That you might not have put a name to them, but you're already teaching them without even realizing it. So please don't let this be an opportunity to feel like you're beating yourselves up because like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing values. Oh, where's the list? The list is on the link at the top. It's just joshuastraub.com/values. So it should already be linked to the post, and if it's not there now, it'll be there when we're done. Yeah. So it's joshuastraub.com/values, and that list is there. So go ahead and download that. But again, don't beat yourself up because you're probably already doing these well. You just haven't labeled them as a particular value, and so
I think
it's important.
I think we bring a lot of the values that our family of origin we were taught or raised with. Some hard work. We're talking with the family the other night, and just work was is huge for them. Work.
Yeah.
But you don't often recognize it. A lot of that family of origin stuff we're just so unaware of because it's innate to who we are. But it's really, I think, helpful to label it, not in a negative way, but just to define it for you. Like, I see this in my life, and maybe I don't want this to be one of my values, but I know I was raised that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, because at the end of life, and again, I'm linking this back to my dad's passing just a few weeks ago. I say passing. I'm also, as part of my grieving process, I'm also watching my language. He entered eternity with Jesus, and so
kind of like a promotion, really.
it was a promotion. And the way that I eulogized him is he's more alive today than he was in the 58 years he walked the earth, and that's the cool part. In that video, we and you can see that video there on our Facebook page. If you scroll down just a few, it's in the where I wrote the tribute to my dad. But I put it, we put it the Switchfoot song "Live It Well." And I think if there's any song that that we value or that you think about these values for, we are establishing values in our family so we can live it well.
Yeah.
So that at the end of our lives, we know that we raised our kids well and that we raised each other well. And so, or that we raised each other well, that we loved each other well.
I'm totally raising you well.
Thank you. You're doing a great job, I think. Yeah, what are some values that you guys, go ahead, what a promotion, yes. What are some values that you hold in your family? Go ahead and comment on that. And then also, I talked about bad values, like boys don't cry, but, if you have some bad values that you're teaching, and you can complement them from the other stuff. So.
But focus on the good ones.
Focus on the good ones, and get 3 to 5, set them up, and then put them on the refrigerator.
This is what we did.
And repeat them.
We did ours individually, though, to figure out, like, what are my values?
What
are his values?
We did do that.
And then we realized the common ones, the ones that we had in common. So I think we did, like, 10 to start with, like, that were resonated with me, and 10 for him. And then there was 5 that we had in common. And
another factor there, too, generosity, kindness. Look at these. Here are some coming. Integrity. And what we do is we've connected ours. So even that list is exactly what you guys are writing. Generosity, integrity, compassion. There's no scripture. So if you want to connect scripture to it, that's what we have done with ours. Empathy, we use Philippians 2:3. Adventure, we use Ecclesiastes 9. Hard work, Proverbs 6:6. So we have gone through and we have linked scripture, scriptural truths to the values that we hold. And you can go ahead and do that as well. And we would encourage you to do that as you do that. So download that list, go with those 2 values, and then follow us on Facebook. We are actually going to be doing, with our kids, we haven't been doing the morning prayers and stuff as much. We're going to start getting back into that. But through the month of December for Advent, we are going to be doing, and I don't even know if you know this, we're doing an Advent every single day from December 1st to December 25th. We're doing an Advent,
you did tell me that.
The characters of the Christmas story.
You did
to
not
teach
tell me
our
that
kids the characters of the Christmas story. And so we'll be putting that up each day, starting with Isaiah, all the way back in the Old Testament, and David, and then we got, obviously Jesus and
That's
stuff.
Cool.
So
that's awesome.
because we want to teach our kids the characters of the Christmas story.
Tree up.
So we do have our Christmas tree up. It's not decorated. It's a pre-lit tree, which is awesome.
So basically, we stood it up. Is what we did.
Yeah, they're amazing. Courage, I love that one.
We started celebrating Christmas like mid-November here, but
yeah, it's because our kids love it, and my dad loved it, and why not? So we are going to allow it. Personal responsibility, I love that.
Yeah.
Because I love that one, especially just in terms of it's so easy to do things for your kids, especially when they're young, and they don't learn responsibility because you're doing things for them over and over again.
Yeah.
And so personal responsibility is a great one.
Yeah.
So you guys have a great night. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you again next week, Thursday night. Oh, really? It's Thanksgiving.
Okay, no, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We won't be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we will see you soon. We'll be on, just like our page, and then we'll tell you when we're going to come on again so that we can
do
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.